One of the more frequent comments I get on this channel is people being happy that I'm very optimistic about games or happy about games as I'm playing them, giving them a chance in some sense to grow on me without actually just dismissing them right away. I wanted to talk a little bit about that today because I feel like it's something that I really... And by the way, there's stuff that you should love about yourself always, guys. I don't mean to do a sidetrack thing in this. It's very tough sometimes, of course it is. I'm sorry to get sappy. There's always stuff you should find about yourself that you love and love that stuff. I like dearly that I can feel optimistic about games, even games I've never played before, even games that are considered to be bad games. I love the idea of giving games a chance in any sense. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do. Years ago, I played Trails of Cold Steel on the Vita for the first time, the first Trails of Cold Steel. I also played a game called Demon Souls years ago as well. I replayed a game called Shadow of Memories from my childhood about 4 or 5 years ago as well. And those games taught me something so precious about video games in general, is that a rating on Metacritic or a consensus online about a game doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. You need to find what you like in video games, and you need to make that something that you seek out. Because even in some of the darker places of video games, some of the worst places in video games, some of the games that people would consider to be some of the worst games of all time, somebody loves that game. One of the most notoriously bad, quote-unquote, games is Sonic 06. I guarantee you, there is one 20-year-old dude who talks about that game like it is the Holy Grail, who defends that game like it's the Holy Grail. Are they wrong? Well, that's up to you. Gaming is all opinion. It's always going to be opinion. It's art. But for me personally, playing a game like Trails of Cold Steel, which is considered by a lot of people to be a very unappealing game because of the way the visuals are and the graphics are, and the animations are. They're very simple. They're not very detailed in a lot of ways. But the game is still pretty to me in other ways. It has one of the best stories, some of the best lore that you could ever see in the series. It packs its whole entire world with some of the most interesting places and characters. It really knows how to put together a story over the course of a few games. And I would have never have played this game if I just saw the Metacritic score and saw what people were saying about the visuals in the game and just never touched it. I would have never found one of my favorite series of all time because I didn't give this game a chance. Like, how crazy is that if you just think about it like that? Another example is Shadow of Memories, a game that honestly is flawed in a lot of ways. But as I was replaying it, I was like, oh man, this maybe might not be as good as I originally thought for when I was a kid. And I'm playing it, I'm like, no, these are the aspects that I love about this. Yes, this stuff is kind of annoying. Like, this stuff in the side of this game is kind of annoying. But you still have to take this stuff that's awesome on the other side and talk about this as well. I feel like too often when it comes to internet discourse, and this is something I'm very passionate about. I'm sorry if this sounds like a rant. I'm not trying to rant. Too often, someone will praise a game, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, you're not critical enough about a game. You are just letting this company make this bad game, and you're just not even like listen. You're part of the problem. Okay, you can love aspects of something and still want them to improve. You can hate aspects of a game and still love aspects of a game. Depending on the circle you're in, of course. I understand a lot of people have friends that don't allow them to do this. You need to get out of that, by the way. If your friends don't let you have an opinion on video games, then I'm sorry. You just gotta stand up for yourself. Please do. Please stand up for yourself. It'll feel good in the end. Because I can look at Trails of Cold Steel and say, the animations aren't fantastic. The animations aren't amazing. The textures aren't that great at all. But why, because of that aspect, should I forget about the frickin' fantastic parts of it? The same thing goes for Super Paper Mario. Does that game have some issues? Of course it does. Like, is there some problems in the game like that some people have with the game that like maybe like the gameplay isn't as fun as it is in the original Paper Mario games? Of course, like people can feel that way altogether. But that doesn't mean you can't find the awesome parts in the game. For me and my channel personally, I don't like to nitpick. I don't like to play a game and go, like find something that's a tiny bit of an annoyance and comment on it. Even though like it might like, you know, I might notice it. To me, it doesn't add anything to a critique. Minor nitpicks don't add anything to a critique to me. If I'm talking about being critical, I would like to talk about the story, or how the gameplay works, or how a certain level is. Because even you guys know, watching my series, there are aspects of games that I do not like. There are aspects of stuff that I do not like. But I don't like to comment on them all the time, because who wants to hear someone talk about the stuff they don't like? Well, actually, that's actually a big popular thing in gaming YouTube. Forget I said anything. But for me, personally, I don't want to talk about the stuff that I really don't like that often, because I want to kind of talk about the stuff that I do like. Even in my countdown videos, I don't want to do top 10 worst areas in games, top 10 worst games of all time. Because again, I'd rather use my time to talk about the stuff that I really freaking love. I would like to do that more than anything else. When I started playing Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Justice for All, one of the first comments I got was, this is considered by most to be one of the worst games in the series. Not the worst, one of the least good games in the series compared to the other ones. And I ended up loving it. When I played Super Paper Mario, I got comments about people saying this is considered by most to be one of the starting low points for the series. And I nearly cried at the end of Super Paper Mario. Can you imagine that? Like, that's exactly like how I felt. Like, I nearly cried at the end of Super Paper Mario, and I would never have played that game if I listened to people and said that you shouldn't play this game. I think too often, and this is gonna sound like a rant again, I'm sorry. I think too often when I'm playing when people are playing video games, people mistake negativity for critical thinking. You can be critical and positive at the same time. In fact, being positive is an aspect of criticism. It is. Negativity is not just criticism. Yes, you have to be cruel to be kind in some ways. You have to criticize a game for the public so they know what they want to buy and what they don't want to buy. You know what you like and you know what you don't like. I'm the same way. As I said, I think I've said before, there's games that I've quit completely because I just didn't want to play them anymore. One of the best examples is Mario Bros. Wii U, I think it is, and I just like, I couldn't finish the game. It wasn't my cup of tea at all. And I stopped playing it altogether because I was just like, look, I don't need to play a game that I'm not enjoying that much. Let's just leave it to the side. There's no point talking about it. There's no point making 10 videos about why this game isn't good enough. It's not something I wanted to do whatsoever. I guess what I'm saying in that aspect is, I like being optimistic about games, and I'm glad you guys like me being optimistic about games, because it's not going to stop. It's what I want to do. And yes, there's aspects of games that I don't like. I talk about them in videos, I talked about them in series, and I talked about them in my Discord, on Twitter, everywhere. But I would rather give a game a chance than to not play it at all, because I feel like I would miss out on so much just by looking at the base cover and the reaction to it and never playing it. I feel like that would be so sad to just let these games die. Just let these games die in my heart. Not in public, because obviously people still play them, but let these games just never be played. I want to end this video talking about another example that I think is the most important example of this video, about the optimistic stuff. Very often, I talk about Skyward Sword. I think about that game every single day. I think about that game every day, like multiple times. I can't help it. It just pops into my brain like it's meant to be there, like it's a marriage made in heaven. And Skyward Sword is a game that I was told for years was terrible. And here's the thing, let's not beat around the bush. It wasn't a game that people were like, oh, this game is not very good. People were like, this game is garbage. This game is one of the worst games ever. This game is one of like the dark spots for The Legend of Zelda. And then I played this game, and it has one of the best stories. It has some of the most fun gameplay, some of the best dungeons. It has some of the best character growth and development, has some of the best writing. And I'm playing this game, and I'm like, this is my favorite Zelda game of all time, and in my top 10 favorite games of all time. Can you imagine if I decided just not to play it because people told me it was bad? That would have been terrible. I would literally have never experienced a story that now I love so much, that now I love so dearly. I would have never experienced it. And so the only thing I'll say to you guys is, think critically. Of course, you have to. think about games in general and say, this is an aspect I don't like, this is an aspect that I do like, but I really, the stuff that I don't like outweighs the stuff that I do like, so I'm not going to get this game. I'm like that sometimes as well. I'm like that most of the time as well. There's aspects of games that I do not like, and I will not buy them because I do not like those games. I don't just play every single goddamn game because I want to give it a chance. Obviously, that's not what I'm saying. There's games that I just will not play. For me, like the Assassin's Creed series was never something that I was into. It never appealed to me, so I never really played those games. There's certain aspects of gameplay that I see that I'm just not very into. But I will say to you guys, give games a chance. There's some games that you might think that you'll hate, and you'll actually end up loving it dearly. It happens. It happens, and it's a game that you least expect. There's gonna be games that you wish that like you're gonna go your whole life without playing because people told you they were bad. Try them out. Please, just try them out. Guys, I'm very excited for Origami King. We're going to be doing some stuff up in the coming days before that game comes out, and I'm very excited to see what we're going to be doing. I don't know yet, that's why I'm saying I'm excited too. And I will see you guys very soon. I'm sorry for ranting for about almost 12 minutes, but it's just something I wanted to talk about. And I'm very grateful that a lot of you guys really enjoy that aspect of my channel, because it's something I do enjoy as well.